On the evening of June 9, 1912, the small town of Villisca, Iowa, was preparing for another peaceful night. Families attended church, children laughed with friends, and neighbors enjoyed the quiet atmosphere of the close-knit community. Nobody could have imagined that before sunrise, the town would become the scene of one of the most infamous unsolved murder cases in American history. That evening, Josiah Moore, a successful businessman, attended a children's church program with his wife Sarah and their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. Joining them were 2 sisters, Ina and Lena Stillinger, who had been invited to spend the night at the Moore home after the event. Around 9:30 p.m., the family and their guests returned home. Witnesses later reported that everything appeared completely normal. The children were excited after the church program, and the family settled in for the night. It would be the last evening of their lives. Sometime after midnight, an unknown person entered the Moore house. Investigators later believed the killer may have hidden inside the home before the family returned. Armed with an axe, the intruder moved through the dark house while everyone slept. The first victims were Josiah and Sarah Moore. They were attacked in their bedroom on the first floor. The killer then quietly climbed the stairs and entered the children's rooms. One by one, the 4 more children were murdered in their beds. The 2 Stillinger sisters sleeping in a downstairs guest room were attacked last. By the time the killer left the house, all 8 people inside were dead. The following morning, neighbors became concerned when the Moore family failed to begin their normal daily activities. Around 7 a.m., neighbor Mary Peckham attempted to contact the family but received no answer. Feeling uneasy, she asked Josiah's brother, Ross Moore, to check the house. When Ross entered the home, he made a horrifying discovery. The entire family and their guests had been murdered. Authorities were immediately called, and news of the massacre spread rapidly through Villisca. As investigators searched the crime scene, they found several strange details. Every curtain in the house had been pulled shut. Mirrors were covered with clothing or fabric. A lamp had been left burning inside the home. Even more disturbing, it appeared the killer had remained in the house for some time after the murders, calmly moving from room to room. The murders shocked the nation. Newspapers across America published dramatic headlines about the mysterious slaughter of an entire family. Hundreds of curious visitors traveled to Villisca, and the crime scene quickly became contaminated as people wandered through the house. Despite an enormous investigation, detectives struggled to identify a suspect. Over the years, several individuals were questioned. One of the most prominent suspects was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling minister who had attended the church program on the night of the murders. Kelly behaved strangely after the crime and eventually gave a confession. However, his confession contained numerous inconsistencies and was later withdrawn. Many investigators believed it was unreliable, and he was ultimately acquitted. Another suspect was William Mansfield, a man linked by some investigators to similar murders in other states. Detective James Newton Wilkerson strongly believed Mansfield was responsible for the Villisca murders. However, there was not enough evidence to bring a successful prosecution. Rumors also surrounded Frank Jones, a wealthy Villisca businessman who reportedly had a business rivalry with Josiah Moore. Some residents believed the murders may have been connected to personal disputes or revenge. Yet no evidence ever proved these claims. As the years passed, witnesses changed their stories, evidence disappeared, and leads went cold. The investigation became tangled in conflicting theories, accusations, and speculation. Every promising suspect eventually led to a dead end. The mystery only deepened with time. Was the killer a drifter passing through town? A serial murderer? Someone known to the victims? Or a person who managed to avoid suspicion entirely? More than a century later, no one knows the answer. Today, the Moore House still stands in Villisca, Iowa. It serves as a reminder of the tragedy that occurred on that summer night in 1912. Historians and true crime enthusiasts continue to study the case, hoping to uncover clues that investigators may have missed. But despite decades of investigation and countless theories, the truth remains hidden. 8 people went to sleep inside the Moore home on June 9, 1912. By morning, every one of them was dead. The identity of the killer remains unknown. The Villisca Axe murders remain officially unsolved to this day.